Hello, my name is Sophia Godoy, and today I'll be talking about Keith Haring's mural, Crack is Wack. So here it is. This mural was painted in 1986 on a handball court, firstly done illegally in East Harlem, New York City, and it is located specifically in what is now known as Crack is Wack Playground. It is a 16 by 26 foot work, and it was created in oil-based house paint directly on concrete. So, an intro on what this mural is. It basically emerged and was created in a period of time where there was a lot of political tension in the US, primarily due to widespread use of illegal drugs, specifically on the crack cocaine epidemic, and Haring painted it kind of like a public outcry, especially as he was personally affected. And soon after he was arrested, the city sanctioned its restoration, and it stands today as a public warning and also as a work of art. Also to note, Haring was arrested, but he only faced a $25 penalty for disorderly conduct and 0 jail time because the mural connected with people and gained such popularity. Now let's look at the formal composition. So Haring's style is defined by bold black lines and flat vivid colors. Here is specifically, we can see the use of orange and black that make the message "crack is whack" impossible to miss. The picture is not the best quality, I apologize. It's just a really old image, and since the artwork was destroyed, there couldn't have been better quality images, so we're just gonna have to use this one. But later down the road, I did use better quality images from the restoration. But right now I'm analyzing the original work. So as you can see, these 3 skeletal figures on the left, specifically 2 of them, we can see that they have angular limbs and exaggerated jaws with energetic, continuous lines surrounding them, kind of for movement, and their expressions evoke suffering and frantic motion. So, and the radiating lines around them function like comic book marks signaling distress. And of course, as their skulls, they represent death. Additionally, on the right, we can see that there's a central figure that slumps, and there's sort of like a monster trying to eat a subject, and it's clenching its jaw open. It has an X mark on its chest, which basically represents someone who is fighting an addiction and is just hanging by a thread pretty much. And we can also see the use of a cross representing religion, and how this can have different meanings, but basically how religion can fail even in addiction and also represent the afterlife. In more general, this mural is arranged by text and image in a grid-like structure, with each word of crack filling its own panel. And it's kind of hard to imagine, but this typographic treatment is inspired kind of by advertising billboards that basically transforms a public space into a giant poster. Yet it remains hand-drawn, giving it that sense of humanity. Additionally, because Haring used house paint on concrete, the mural's rough texture seeps through the color, and it reminds viewers of the urban environment it inhabits and its scale that is larger than life. Now, moving on to the American experience and the context this held. To understand why this mural matters to the American experience, we need to look back into East Harlem's environment in the 1980s. So the crack cocaine epidemic exploded in marginalized neighborhoods. By 1986, overdose deaths surged. As sociologist David Muster notes, crack was a public health catastrophe that highlighted racial and economic inequities in America. This was written in The American Disease: Origins of Narcotic Control from the Oxford Press. Haring himself witnessed friends and studio assistants struggle with addiction, and in his own journals he wrote, "I feel compelled to speak out. Art must do more than decorate walls." So that is from his own journal, and that was from the Vikings Press. Cracky's Wack functions as both art and public service announcement. Scholar Ulrich Bench argues that Haring's subversion of unauthorized graffiti into sanctioned public art pretty much redefined how Americans engage with social issues in urban spaces. As stated in Keith Haring, A Street Artist, Volume 2. And this mural location in East Harlem is historically Puerto Rican and African American neighborhood, which amplifies its message because Haring chose that court because local kids played there, and it was just a community wall where people would see it, and he bypassed galleries to speak directly to those most affected. So in the broader American context, the work exemplifies the tradition of art as protest. From WPA murals in the 1930s to contemporary street art that tackles injustice, Haring's accessible, urgent style helped democratize art, making it part of everyday life rather than just for museums. And finally, the mural's legacy. It remains a site for tours and educational programs, reminding Americans of Dark Chapter and the power of citizen activism. It embodies resilience, transforming a public health crisis into a call for awareness and community care. And lastly, we can see some quotes by Keith. When you have a van, ladders, and paint, policemen don't even consider asking whether you have any permission. They just assume you do. This is how he did a lot of his murals back then. And here is some pictures of the restoration and a picture of the park that is today, where you can actually go and visit, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you. Remember to speak out and take action for what's right.